Greetings, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe cooking channel. Today we're going to fire up our Joe and turn it into a bread baking oven and make a couple loaves of some whole wheat bread. So let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to fire up our Kamado Joe Classic. I've got one Kamado Joe fire starter cube down here in the middle of the charcoal. We're going to light it up and let it burn here with the lid open in this grill for about 10 minutes. Okay, now that we've got our fire going, I'm going to set my divide and conquer flexible cooking system right in here. I have the accessory rack in the lower position with the heat deflector on the accessory rack, and then the grill grates in the upper position. And we're going to set up today to cook at a temperature of 350 degrees. In order to get our Classic set up to cook at 350, I'm going to close the bottom vent about halfway, and I'm going to close the top vent slider all the way, and I'm going to leave the daisy wheel fully open until we get up close to temperature. And then if I need to slow down the temperature increase, I'm going to close the daisy wheel, or if I need to bring the temperature up, we'll open the slider. So we'll just keep our eye on this and make our adjustments right here until we get our grill settled in at 350 degrees. Okay, to get started on this bread, I've got my mixer set out here. I'm going to start out with 3.5 cups of a white whole wheat flour. Then we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of Vital wheat gluten. I'm going to add 4 teaspoons or 2 packets of the quick rise yeast, and then I'm going to add 2.5 cups of warm water. And we're going to raise this up, turn the mixer on, and let this mix for about a minute or so. Okay, and I'm just going to stop the mixer there now that all that's come together. We're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. Okay, now it's time to add the rest of our ingredients to our bread dough mix. We're going to add 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of salt, 4 teaspoons of lemon juice, and 1/3 of a cup of honey. And we're also going to add an additional 2.5 cups of this white whole wheat flour, 1/2 cup at a time, until we get it all mixed in. And after I get all that dough added, we're going to let this thing continue to mix until our dough ball forms and it's pulling away from the sides of the bowl cleanly. Okay, there, it looks like our dough ball's about ready, so we're going to turn it out onto a floured cutting board. Okay, I've spread a little flour on my cutting board. We're going to dump this ball of dough out, and I'm going to cut my dough into 2 equal parts here. We're making 2 loaves. The next thing I'm going to do, I have greased my loaf pan with butter, so I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour inside here as well. Get a coat of flour and butter, and we're going to take half of our dough and put it in one of these pans, and we're going to just spread it out evenly. And we're going to do the same thing with the second pan. Okay, in order to proof this bread, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn my oven on to a temperature of 350 degrees for exactly 1 minute, and then I'm going to turn the oven off. Okay, now that I've done my oven at 350 for 1 minute and turned it off, I'm going to set these pans in the oven for 30 or 45 minutes to let this dough rise, and we'll be back to have a look at it when it's finished rising. Okay, we've let these guys rise up. One of my loaves is obviously a little bit larger than the other, so I guess now
let's put that bad boy on the grill.
That's right. Next thing we're going to do is put these bad boys on the grill. So we're going to set these right in the middle, and I'm not sure how long these are going to take to cook, but I'm going to take a guess at 30 to 40 minutes. So we're going to let these run here at 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll come back and have a look at these when they're ready. Right at 30 minutes in, on this cook, and man, this stuff looks delicious. It's looking ready, so it's got that nice hollow thump to it. So I'm gonna get these off the grill. We're gonna take them inside, and you know what we're gonna do next. Okay, I just took these out of the pan. I let them cool for about 5 minutes or so before I took them out of the pan. And as you can see, we've got one loaf here. It's a good bit larger than the other one, but I want you to have a look at this crust. That crust is perfect on both loaves. Looks really good. I can't wait to slice into this. We are going to let it cool for a little while before we slice that, but we'll be back in just a minute. This bread's had a little bit of time to cool, so we're going to take my bread knife and cut right down into the middle of this and have a peek. That texture looks pretty good. It could have cooked just a little bit longer, but man, it looks good. We're gonna slice off some of this, and we're gonna have a taste. Okay folks, once again, I wish you could smell this. I'm gonna drizzle just a little tiny bit of honey on the top of this. I'm not gonna put any butter on it. We're going to let a little bit of that honey seep in there, and we're going to have a taste test on this. Folks, that's some good stuff. That's an excellent bread recipe, and bringing that wood-fired, charcoal-fired oven flavor to the bread by cooking it on the Kamado Joe just really takes it over the top. Hemi agrees. So, but he's not getting any. So until next time, this is John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.